Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with
Trey.
And tell us what you're going to be profiling for us today.
So we have a Ishizu tier. The new Ishizu fairy monsters just came out this week, and I was able to pick them up before the locals. So to start off, we have Tearlaments. We've actually cut Rhino down to 2.
Really?
He's not such a great normal summon anymore because you're milling half your deck, so you usually hit every name. But you still want 2 because you search him off Primitive Planet, and once he uses his Reborn, he gets banished.
Yeah.
So you just want the second name, but 2 is enough to make Kaleido Heart most of the time. 3 Sharon. Probably your best tier name now that the Ishizu cards trigger off of her. So she can just be a mill 8 by herself.
I gotcha.
3 Hovness, one of the stupidest cards in the game right now.
I definitely agree.
Your opponent going first, and now with the Ishizu cards, you go mill 3, mill 5, mill 5.
If that card was at 1, I think it'd be probably for the best. But knowing Konami, they're going to want to ride this cash cow for a little bit longer.
And you can just mill 18 on your opponent's first turn.
You really can. He did that against me.
3 Merly. This is much more important now with the being a level 2 that we can go into sprite stuff. We're not playing sprites in the main deck, but the sprite extra deck monsters are generic, so they are extremely helpful.
Gotcha. Was it Merly or was it the other one that used on your opponent's turn?
Hovness is the one that you can use on the opponent's turn.
Okay, so yeah, that's the card that should be put to 1. But it won't.
We have 3 Ball. I don't know their actual names. I call them by my chosen names. This is 3 Ball. If a card is sent from your opponent's hand, discarded, or sent from your opponent's hand or deck, you can special him and a Reborn and Earth Fairy from grave. If he's sent from your hand or deck to grave, you mill 5. And if you have Exchange of the Spirit, you and your opponent both mill 5. If you have Exchange of the Spirit in grave, you can choose either yourself or your opponent to mill 5 more. Which
is insane.
Kelbeck, he has the same mill effect as Ball. This is Sparky. He mills 5, so why not play him, honestly? These two, they trigger each other a lot of the times. Like, you'll hit one, and then it will hit the next one, and then you'll mill 5 more. But his in-hand effect is if a card is discarded or sent from your opponent's deck to grave, you can special him and bounce a special summon monster on their field. So he's a pseudo hand trap. Between him and Hovness, you already have 6 hand traps in the deck.
That's wow.
Those are the mills for the Ishizus. And then we have my favorite art for the Ishizu cards, Knife Guy.
Knife Guy, love it.
So he can pitch a fairy from your hand to special summon and then activate the Gravekeeper's Trap from your deck. And that's, in quotation marks, Gravekeeper's Trap. It's a specific name.
Yeah.
That card is in the side, so we can go over it in a second. But his graveyard effect is banish him to target 3 in either player's grave, shuffle them into those players' decks as a quick effect. So he's like a DD Crow that's just in grave. If you do have exchange in the grave, it's shuffle 5.
Wow.
From either player. And they don't have to be like your opponent's grave only. You can do a mixture.
Yeah.
Statue Lady. We again, she pitches a fairy from hand, specials herself, and then you can search a card that mentions Exchange of the Spirit.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's the other way to get to the trap, because the trap mentions Exchange of the Spirit.
I gotcha.
Her effect in the grave is the same shuffle effect as Knife Guy. Very important for resources too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Since we're all fairies, we play Herald of Orange Light.
Oh, that card is so annoying.
Stop Shifter, negate destroy, trigger your mills, put one of the DD Crows in grave. I sided it out once today because I thought it wasn't good in the match. Its only downside is you have to see it and one of your fairies.
Yeah, which I could see how it can kind of clog your hand if you don't have a fairy.
But it can just trigger your mill 5 on your opponent's first turn.
Exactly. I think you did that to me, actually.
Our last fairy is one Diviner. This may look weird if you haven't played the deck. So essentially, Diviner, if you open it, it can be a normal summon, send one of your Ishizus, because they're all fairies, and then it becomes a level 6 tuner. So you can make sync 10 plays with your Rhino and your Sharon.
Alright.
But it's also level 2. So
Sprite.
So if we mill it, we
Sprite
can.
Elf.
If you mill it, you can reborn it with Sprite Elf.
That's actually really cool.
That's why you only play one.
I can see why you would only run one, yeah.
That's all for the monsters. No hand
Alright.
traps outside of the engines.
And the orange light.
And the orange light. 3 primitive planet, 1 terraforming. Just want to max out because this card's pop and gain 500 is extremely strong, as well as the search.
Yeah.
I really hope they don't put this card to 1 like they did in the OCG, because I paid money for them. Triple Chalice. This is supposed to be droplets, but Chalice.
Okay.
Droplets works really well with the Ishizu cards because you pitch them.
Yeah.
But I have Chalice right now. You need this to stop Abyss Dweller.
Okay, so mainly you replace this for
Droplets.
the droplets, and that, again, droplets is actually really good.
Against Abyss Dweller, too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it's just a good card for a free negation going second or first. It's I don't know. It's hard because droplets is so much better.
Yeah, for sure.
I lost 1 game today because it was not droplets, and I had a mill 5, 2 of the mill 5s in hand.
Oh, wow.
For our other Tearlament spell, we have 2 Scream. You can play this at 3 if you want. I just picked 2 because I am playing Heartbeat. So this is one of the newer ones. So when a monster is summoned and you control a Tearlament, you just mill 3, and for the rest of the turn, monsters your opponent controls lose 5. So
Oh, wow.
That's even if they're summoned after you resolve this effect. They're just down 500 attack for the turn. When that plus the field spell puts your opponent at like 1,000 attack point disadvantage.
All right, then.
If it's sent to grave, you add one of the traps, and
That's pretty good.
You can keep putting the traps back with your Shizus to keep adding them.
Yeah.
1 Heartbeat. This is just the Floodgate Mystic Mine out. If it's sent, you can add a trap back from grave, which does come up.
I gotcha.
1 Instant Fusion. Ban this card.
Yeah, I agree. We have Ready Fusion now. Instant Fusion can just be banned at this point.
I activated this, Summon Kit Kalos. My opponent impermed it. I went in phase, Kit Kalos hit a mill 5, and then that mill 5 hit a mill 5, and I still just passed on full combo.
Yeah, Instant Fusion needs to get banned. Ready Fusion does enough as it is.
And
Instant Fusion's...
This is... I don't know if this is correct, but I like it. 1 Pot of Acquisitiveness.
Ah,
I can't pronounce it.
Pot of Acquisitiveness.
So it's a quick effect pot. Shuffle 3 of your banished monsters. Not 3 of yours, actually. It's 3 banished monsters.
Yeah,
So
okay, yeah. So you can banish, you can shuffle back your opponents if you
Yeah.
wanted, but
that's
more than likely it'll be your own.
important in the Flunder match. You put back your opponents like Robina and Eaglin.
Oh, yeah.
But in combination with the Shuffle Ishizus, you can't deck out. Because you will shuffle 3 of your shufflers, and then one of your shufflers will put this back.
Fair enough. Really good card.
For traps, it's 2 Soliac, 1 Crime. So
Alright.
With the introduction of Scream, we can play multiple traps now. And sending Soliac off the top of your deck lets you search a monster, which is nice to just have the extra monster. And then this comes up sometimes. If it's milled, you add a banished Tearlaments back to your hand.
Yeah.
It can come up with like DD Crow and the Bestials running around. For those that don't know, Crime is an Omni Negate, so it's our Evenly Match and our Dark Ruler Stopper.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And Crime sends any monster from your hand instead of just Tearlaments, so you can send your Ishizus off of it.
I gotcha.
That's it for the main. 42 cards.
All right.
You can easily cut the pot, change the chalices to droplets if you have them. For the extra, we have our token, and then we're on 1 Kaleido, 1 Rulu. There's an argument to play 2 Kaleido because of the Bestials, but the extra decks are really tight. 2 Kit Kalos, the best fusion in your deck. You literally
Easily the best fusion, yes.
You literally can just play Kit Kalos control and like fuse to this once on your turn, fuse to it once on your opponent's turn, and you like just keep adding resource cards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And using your Soliac and Crime and stuff. So if my Crime's engraved, I will actually send Heartbeat off of Kit to add my Crime back sometimes.
Yeah, that works.
Next we have Mud Dragon, Garua, and Draco Stapelia. These are just our Super Poly. Super Poly is in the side deck. You still need it. But these are good Super Poly targets. This is needed to make Sync 10s sometimes.
All right.
And Mud Dragon is generic rank 4 material. And in the tier matchup, having the Mud Dragon on board for targeting protection is quite strong.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then 1 Nitith.
Of course, why not?
So Sprite Elf, after you've used your Diviner, you can reborn it in Nintis, and then your Ishizus can keep putting Nintis back. And you can put Nintis back to make Draco Stapelia.
Wait, so how do you add it back?
With the Ishizu shuffles.
Okay.
Or you can put it back when you fusion summon for Draco Stapelia.
I gotcha.
So your Diviner plus Elf is just a pop every turn.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
Dweller.
For the mirror match.
The best rank 4 of 2019. and 2022.
Apparently, yeah.
1 Redoer. So Redoer triggers your Tearlaments because he detaches for effect, not for cost.
Alright, yeah, that's true.
So he can trigger your Sharon sometimes.
I gotcha.
And he plays around Dark Roller. If you have this in Soliac, you flip up Soliac and chain to dodge the Dark Roller, and then you get to fusion.
Yeah.
1 Elf for the level 2 shenanigans with Merly and Diviner. 1 Sprint to send Merly or Diviner. 1 Dark for the mirror match is extremely strong because you just steal their Kaleido, you steal their Kit Kalos, you steal their Rulu Karos. Well, Rulu is actually water, but you get the point. It's really strong in the mirror, and
oh, for sure.
Dark is just the most generic attribute. 1 Underworld Goddess. This is to out big unaffected idiots, or
I love how this card is like increased in popularity recently. Like, it was already like a decent card, but now it's just being seen in almost every deck.
You just need it sometimes, honestly. For example, it won me 1 game. My opponent was playing Libromancer, and he had a Libromancer counter trap that was an Omni Negate. And then he had a Barone on field. And I couldn't bait both, but I had enough material to normal summon a Sharon and link off his Barone.
I gotcha.
Then this Dark Rollers, or I linked off his Libromancer monster, which turns off his trap, and then this Dark Roller is the Barone, and the Barone can't negate it because the Barone doesn't target.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So those situations come up, and then for our last card, I play 1 Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign.
All right.
Which this is what I make with my Diviner when I make it 6, or make it 4. You can send Orange Light. But he gets huge, and he lowers your opponent's attack even further than Scream.
Oh wow.
But when you banish a card, he gets to, or if a card is banished, he gets to banish a card non-target from your opponent's field engrave.
I gotcha.
So when you banish one of your Ishizus to shuffle 3, it will trigger him.
I gotcha.
You can play Barone in that spot. I just prefer him because he's really strong and he's a game ender.
Sounds good.
And then for the side deck's whatever you want it to be, but obviously we have Cowboy for game.
Really good.
I had one match go. We got to play 4 turns because it was Tearlament Infernoid against Tearlament Ishizu, and we had like chains of 8 and higher.
Oh, wow.
So we got to play 4 turns in 40 minutes. 3 Lava Golem. The deck doesn't need its normal summon every time, but it does need to remove 2 monsters.
Yeah.
Could be sphere modes if you wanted. I just don't like sphere modes because Lava Golem's
I think
active.
Lava Golem's just better this format anyway. Because your opponent doesn't always end on more than 2 monsters.
3 cherries for the mirror match, and even not in the mirror match, for example, against you were playing Salad, I put these in to call Dweller.
Oh, yeah, I definitely see that, yeah.
Dweller is the biggest weakness of this deck because it shuts you off for 2 turns. Super Poly in the side.
Of course.
I don't like it in the main right now. It's kind of iffy in the main deck. 3 evenly, because this card's fair. I hate this card.
Don't we all?
Literally, give up your battle phase. Probably just win the game.
Yeah, like my heart always drops whenever my opponent just says, draw, stand by main, battle, end of battle.
It is why we have to play Crime.
Yeah, I could see.
1 Exchange of the Spirits, and 1 Gravekeeper Trap. So
really good cards.
you will never activate this card.
You want to always have that card engraved.
It just wants to be engraved for the Ishizu bonuses, but specifically for Gravekeeper's Trap. This is Necro Valley as a trap card that you can search for whatever reason.
I gotcha.
Your opponent can't activate cards, and they can't special from the grave as long as exchange is in the grave. But its second effect is before your opponent draws for their draw phase, you declare a card, and they reveal their draw. If the card that you called is the same as the card they drew and revealed for turn, it goes to grave.
Yeah.
So you can sit here and you can be like evenly matched. If evenly matched or Dark Ruler's the out to your board, you just go Dark Ruler, evenly matched.
Yeah.
And after a couple turns, you just know their hand.
I gotcha.
Free information for no reason.
Alright, so I guess that's about it for the deck profile. Do you have any shoutouts you'd like to give out?
Shout out to Team Shank.
Of course,
team
best team.
Shout out to Bud's Place for letting us play. Always great to come here on Saturdays. Shout out to the people that helped me get all the Ishizu cards today, because it was a struggle to get 3 of all of them. That's about it, yeah.
Alright, so be sure to leave a like, comment down below what you guys think of the deck profile, and be sure to check out the description for my Twitter and my Twitch, which I go live every once in a while. But yeah, with that being said, see ya!